February. And February, usually when it's the month of February, and when we say February, everybody looks at the month of love and all that. But then the core of month of love is relationships. So the question is, how do we still maintain and leverage relationships which are not romantic relationships? And being in a work environment, there are going to be relationships, there are going to be acquaintances and different types of people you meet. But then how are you able to maintain these relationships you build with these people? That's why this webinar is here. So we thought to bring a woman who has enough knowledge in this regard, and she is Madame Teresa Anafi, and she is a co-founder of She Dreams Africa, an NGO focused on empowering young people in community. She currently works as a senior policy and programs officer at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping and Training Center. She has extensive experience in working with individuals and building relationships. Recently, she was named as the vice president of Washington Fellow Association of Ghana. And before we began the in conversation with her, she said she got this position because others were like, we think you can do this. And they gave her the position. So pleasure is mine. Pleasure is that of Blossom Academy to have Madame Teresa Anafi. Madame Teresa Anafi, your audience, Madame Teresa Anafi.
Thank you so much, Condi Love. I hope I got it right. Good evening,
Yes.
everyone. Okay, so my name is Feriza Nefi, as has been already articulated. Oh, and that was so much. So we'll move straight to what I have for you this evening. A minute, please. Condi Love. Hi, Condi Love.
Hi, Teresa.
Can you see it now? Oh, it's still not.
I can see you, but I don't know if you've begun sharing your screen because I can't see that.
You can't see that. A minute, please. Sure. All right. So just I guess it's sharing now. Yes. Hi, Condi Love.
Hi, Teresa.
Is it sharing now?
Yes, please, it is.
I'm sorry to the AI enthusiasts. I'm not an AI person, but please bear with me. So, good evening once again, and my name is Feriza Ansa Anefi. I'm the co-founder of She Dreams Africa, and I'm very privileged and honored to join an amazing bunch of young people and also to speak to everyone on leveraging relationships and networks for strategic growth. So a bit about me. I think Condilav has done such a good job. She really researched well, so she has everything about me. I have some experience in the development space, but particular interest in policy, programs, gender and environment, and those are the areas for which I have been working over the past like over 10 years now. Yes. And I have an MSc in environmental science, and then I also like to develop myself, like you are all currently doing at the Blossom Academy. So I have certificates in public management, communication skills, and promotion of MSMEs, project management, climate peace, and security. And I'm proudly a Mandela Washington Fellow by the US Department of State. I'll have to highlight that. And I also believe that very soon, or some of you are already Blossom Fellows. So that's such an honor. Um, so this evening, our discussion seeks to explore how we can build relationships and networks to drive strategic growth for ourselves as individuals and also for our organizations. basically, these are the three things I'm going to talk about, and then we discuss it further. The importance of relationships and strategic growth, key steps to building effective networks, leveraging connections for sustainable growth. And before we begin, I'd like to begin my presentation this way. Conjulab, are you there? Hi, Conjulab.
Hi, Teresa. Please, I'm
Yeah,
here.
just making sure you are seeing. Yes.
Yes, please. I can
Okay,
see you. If
so
anything, I'll let you.
I would want to begin my presentation because we are talking about relationships, we are talking about networks, and we are talking about how we can leverage that for ourselves as individuals and also for an organization. So before I even go ahead, I have a not-for-profit called She Dreams Africa, and this is how I started my NGO. It was just through a WhatsApp text with my friend. And then I texted her, and then we were talking about something. I really like to work with young people, and then she said, "Why don't we start this?" And then we began to brainstorm the name for the organization, and then we came up with She Dreams because obviously all our dreams are really, really big, and we are dreaming for Africa. So we came up with She Dreams Africa. We registered it, and then that is how we kickstarted. And then we got three other young ladies to join. And these are young ladies I met when two of them I met when I was interning at Moremi Initiative for Women Leadership in Africa. So while I was interning there, I didn't just go to intern, but I made sure that I established a form of relationship with the people I was working with. I worked hard, and then I brought them on board, and then another lady. So that is how I started my NGO. So I would say that my NGO was built on through networks and relationships, I should say. So back to the photo on the screen or the screen. Each photo has a story, and that's why I have put them there. So the first on the left was during COVID. During COVID, COVID came, and then we had to put our work on hold. And then I said, no, we still have to celebrate International Youth Day. So I reached out to Imrana. How did I meet Imrana? I met him at the airport. I was on my way to the US, and then I was sleepy. I was really sleepy. And then I was sitting there, and then this young man taps me. Hi, how are you? You seem so tired. I say, yes, I'm really exhausted. Then we begin conversing. Then the flight comes. We realize we are all going to the same school. Oh, so at the time, he is working in the space of peace and security. But at the time, I was working in community development. I wasn't even working in peace and security then. And then he would tell me about his stories, the Boko Haram issues in Nigeria and all. And I'll listen to him and how he's building himself out of that. Then through that, I'll also support his NGO. I'll post things about him. I'll share things about his story. I'll let people know about him. I recommend him. I speak to people about him and all of that. So I just reached out to him that, oh, Imrana, we want to speak about you. And I think you are one of the young people. Then everybody on the flyer that you see is somebody I met either through a networking event or my internship or through my foundation. So that is for the top left. And that is how I was able to have that particular webinar. Then the second left, I mean on the left side, the photo just below that, like four of us in mask. These are my church mates. Like, how do you get your church mates to follow you to work? It was one Saturday I had to go to work. We were having a community outreach, but these young ladies followed me. Why? Why? Because I had built a relationship with them, similar to the one on the left. And then I like the one in the middle the most because the two people that you see, Sonia and this other gentleman, they came all the way from Togo to support my outreach. We were doing a community ICT project, and I needed facilitators. And Sonia said, "Why not? I'd come. I'd pay for my own accommodation." She didn't even ask me for anything. They came all the way from Togo to support us, and they trained their kids in basic ICT, and that is one of the legacies that we currently have in Tamani Town. A similar one for the International Women's Day. You see the different flags. There's Gabon, there's Ghana, there's Togo, and there's this young lady, Neda Ajuba from University of Ghana. And then finally on the right, bottom right, that's my graduation for the public management. When I went to school or I went to study, I always say that studying is good, but every space that you find yourself in, aside studying, your network is your network. Your classmates become your network. So it's not just about the studies, but also about building relationship in every space that you find yourself in. So we move on. So generally, I think that with regards to networking, it involves building and nurturing relationships that align with your professional goals and values, and also looking at connecting with individuals who can offer you insights, opportunities, and support. And then the third one that we usually leave out, because we are always trying to get, but it's also about supporting others. When you reach out to somebody or you want to establish a relationship with a person, it's not only about what you get. If the person is, say, having a show, the person posts a flyer on their status, they don't even have to tell you, just screenshot it. You also post it on your LinkedIn, post it somewhere so that you're also supporting the person. The person has an event, you support the person. So why is network or relationships important? It gives us access to opportunities, a lot of opportunities. People in your network can recommend you for a job, can recommend you for a promotion, can recommend you for a contract, for anything. And also, it's about learning from people, sharing knowledge, sharing resources. Like I said earlier, my network has shared a lot of knowledge with me and also with the people that I work with. And then it provides a sort of support system, because now when I need something, there are people that I can easily reach out to. And once you have also a good network or you build good relationships with people, you actually have competitive advantage. So for instance, if, say, I'm looking for four people to give scholarship to, maybe somebody that's already in my network will come to mind earlier before maybe I'll think about the next person. So that is one of the advantages of network. So you don't also just get up and then build relationships. It takes effort. It takes time. So you need to be able to build trust. Um, I am always careful to recommend people because I feel if I recommend somebody, it's also my reputation out there. So I need to trust you. I need to see that you are trustworthy. You have integrity. Generally, that's a basic principle for me. Everybody should have integrity. It's a basic human decency. So you don't, your mentor or somebody you met at a network doesn't recommend you for a job or something, and then you go embarrass that person. There should be some form of trust, and then reciprocity. I mentioned that earlier. A lot of times we forget the other side, that we're also supposed to give. So it's not just about getting from that person. Sometimes even if when you build a relationship with somebody, you don't even get anything immediately. It takes time. And then be clear in your communication. Be clear, be open, and then be active. And then it's important to actually also respect other people, respect the people in your network, respect your friends, respect your classmates. I always say that I am privileged because every school or every course I go to, I at least find some people that, I mean, the whole class is also my network, but at least I try to build certain relationships so that I can always go back to them. Then you make sure that you are able to sustain the relationship. A lot of times, somebody offers you support or does something for you, and then you just go away. That becomes transactional. It's not supposed to be so. You're supposed to maintain the relationship. It's not supposed to be because of what you want. Like, you really want a job, so you reach out to, say, Tony Mello, and then you start building, and then he just gives you the job, and then that's it. You just leave. No, you don't leave like that. You should send him progress. Periodic reports of how you are faring. Tell him about your work. I mean, that is how it's supposed to be, but not a one-sided thing. So there's no clear cast in stone when it comes to network, but here are a few examples that I would share with you to build a strong network. You should, even in your little space, you could even have people that you call them mentors who probably have never met you. So for instance, you like Michelle Obama because she was a first lady, but also impacting people. It's just an example. So you can study her from afar. So you need to know who the people that your goals and your values align with. So it could be professionals, it could be influencers, it could be partners, it could be your classmates, your colleagues, not just limited to those listed there. So you need to sit down and then think through, this is my vision or my plan, or maybe for the next 3 months, for the next 1 year, I've started a course and I'm hoping that when I'm done with the course, I'll work in this space or I'll do ABC. So, who are the people that I think are doing well already in that space that I can reach out to and all of that? Also, when it comes to you attend a networking event, a lot of times I see people just crowd around one person. You and just because everybody is crowding around the person doesn't mean that it's somebody you actually need. You always have to have in mind your pitch, maybe just a 30-second something intro about yourself. And then look out in the room. When people are speaking, listen to what they are saying. Then you know that this is a person whose goals aligns with mine. And don't just be all over the place. You just need to balance it. You need to find a way to balance it. So that is the other thing. And then how the next one is to engage actively. Actively. So attend events. You could volunteer for events. Actually, when you see maybe Blossom Academy is organizing something, you could reach out to your facilitator or somebody or the person that is organizing and say, please, I'd want to volunteer. Once you become a resource to them, they'll always have you in mind. So volunteer for others, engage in discussions, and then don't leave a meeting. It's a rule. A lot of times we say we are quiet or we are shy. We are all quiet, but we all have to talk also. So don't leave a meeting or an event or a class without making a contribution. It could just be one word that you say. It could be a question. That is if you are given the opportunity. It could be a question that you ask in a session. Somebody would notice you. It could be an insight, or you could even add on to what somebody has already said. So you could also provide your expertise. And then leverage digital platforms, LinkedIn, social media, and all of that. Then this is my favorite part: be a resource. Don't just be on the receiving part. So you help others in your network without expecting immediate returns. So, for instance, for me, sometimes I just scroll through WhatsApp and then I see my friend has posted maybe she's going to speak or she's going to do something. I just screenshot and I also reshare. I see that maybe my friend has been promoted. I just screenshot and I share. Or I'll, if it's on LinkedIn, I'll like and say congratulations or something. So it's not, sometimes it's not even about the big things. Little things would also help. And then if my friend needs or somebody needs somebody to speak to do something, I avail myself. You need to avail yourself. Sometimes you need to volunteer to help others. And then the final one also, follow up. After contact, you need to send. A lot of times when we attend, sometimes this may I'm using the networking events example. You attend networking events, you pick like 10 business cards, but you don't even send a message, you don't send. So you could initiate a conversation with the person and leave them with something that they will remember. And then when you are sending the personalized email or voice note or text, you say, oh, I'm so and so. Then you bring that in and then you follow up with that. Then I've talked about a lot of these already. You need to check in on the person. I'll say I'll use the example of church because I'm a Christian. So when we all go to church, because the pastor is our pastor, all we are doing is asking for prayers, asking for prayers. But who is also checking on in on the pastor? So once you check in on the pastor, too, the pastor feels appreciated. In the same way, you think that your mentor doesn't have a need or anything, so oh, there's nothing you can do. You can just be checking in on them. So that it's not like when you just need something. There are a few people when I see their message, I know that it's because they need something. They never check in. That's not a very good habit. So you shouldn't be that person that when I see a message, I feel that, oh, you just need something. That's why you are reaching out. You should be checking in periodically. And you should offer value, share articles, share insights with your network, and then look for ways to collaborate and support one another. And then attend networking events. I've mentioned this already. So we come to that. I'll go back also to this. Also, when you meet people, be approachable. A lot of times you are trying to there's somebody I met, somebody introduced to me. She said she's looking for a job. She's looking for a job. That's fine. But every time I see her or I try to introduce her to somebody, she has frowned, she's angry. You are not always happy, but when you have to speak to somebody, your demeanor, the way you are carrying yourself, the way you are speaking to the person should be in a respectful manner. You should show some level of, excitement, even if you're not excited. Not to say you should pretend. Networking can really get overwhelming, really, really overwhelming. But if you know that this is what I want, I really want to be in this person's space, you should go all out. Then, how can you use your networks for growth? I think that I said a lot of it in my beginning. For me, I use my network to start my NGO. Earlier, I was telling Conjulab that recently I was elected as the vice president for the Mandela Washington Fellowship Association. So this is what happened. Initially, I was the 2017 year, my year group cohort rep, but I'll make sure I check on everybody. I'll share opportunities when people post even something on even as little as a WhatsApp group. Even if I have nothing to say, I'll just click a like or a love. I'll put a heart button or I'll put a smile emoji, something to make them feel that it's been seen. I'll share their jobs out. I'll show up also for them and show out for them, support them in any way that I can. So I was there, and then one of them, I posted that it's time for elections because I was supposed to communicate to them. So I'm communicating to them, and then one of them just said, "We're going to vote for you for vice president." I said, "No way, no way. I, I don't even. It's not something I've really even thought about." But my colleague said, "No, even if you don't want it, it's not about you. We are going to do it for you." And it will amaze you that these people went all out to campaign, to support me, to do my part. To I was really overwhelmed. And there was a tie and we had to go for re-election. It was really a tough competition. But my colleagues still stood by me at the time. Even at the point I was facilitating a workshop, so I was a little busy. They would hint me, it's time for you to campaign, it's time for you to do this. And then they were providing me emotional support as well. And then by God's grace, I won. So it's I remember when I posted about it on my Facebook page, I just said my network is my network because it's my colleagues who really pushed this for me and then pushed it out there. Well, so you can use your network to expand your to get new business, to get clients. A lot of times I have been people in my network will recommend me to speak or to do work for people, and all of that is because I built a relationship with them for collaboration and then partnership. So my NGO has partnered with a lot of organizations, and most of them are people in my network. And then advocacy and influence. There are several examples to that. And then one thing I love about my network the most is resources, to share resources. It's not really about the financial, but information. Information is also really key because if you don't know that there's this opportunity there, you never even apply for it. So information is also key. They volunteer their time to support me. Even some volunteer their finances to support projects that I work on sometimes. So that is one of the ways by which we can leverage network for growth. Then networking, like I have said, can be overwhelming. I tell people that I'm an introvert and they laugh at work in my association because they don't believe. They think you are doing so much. How are you an introvert? And I always say that I have had to practice or be what's the I don't even know what word to use, but make a conscious effort to put away the shyness or discomfort. Imagine going out there, you see, say, the Swiss ambassador to Ghana at a networking event, and say you have a project that falls within their foreign policy, or I mean, the area that's within their foreign policy, and you think that she may be able to help. Would you be bold enough to walk to her and say, "Hello, madam, I work so so and so." You don't even need to ask for what you need there now, but you just want to mention to her that you are in this space so that she would have you in mind, or she may reach out to you may reach out to her later. Would you be doing that? Sometimes it gets overwhelming. You enter a room and then there are too many people. Like, why am I even in this space? But you need to actually try to overcome it. One of the trick for me is to just smile when I'm talking to somebody, just to be calm. You just need to be calm, listen, and also listen attentively so that you can, when the person is speaking, you can pick what the person said. So, for instance, you are speaking and then the person mentions child. You can speak about what you have done with children. You just pick on it and then you begin the conversation. Then also you need to build genuine relationships. Don't be the person that when people's phone rings, they think you just need something. That's why you are reaching out to them. Then the cultural barriers. So, for instance, in certain cultures in Africa, when you are talking to an adult, you can't really look into their eyes. It's like you're being disrespectful. But in other places, when you don't look into the person's eyes, it means you are telling lies. So you need to be aware of that. If you find yourself in an international space for work, for a networking event, you need to embrace it. So you also need to read a lot. You need to have some form of knowledge. You need to read about different cultures, read about different people. For instance, you are going for a networking event, you know A, B, and C is coming. You just read a little about them, and then you'll be able to break some of the barriers. And in order for you not to get so overwhelmed and tired, be strategic and be selective. Be strategic and be selective. Um, I don't know, maybe we'll skip this part and come back to it. Everybody would just begin to take a moment to reflect on their own challenges that they may be facing in the networking, and then we can discuss possible solutions. Condola will support us with that. But in conclusion, I've been talking a lot, so let me end now. In conclusion, I'll say that you just need to start, make a conscious effort. Like you have a plan that I want to complete the course by March 2025, you need to also have a plan that I would try to build two new contacts, whether in my class, in my community, in my church, at an event I attend by, say, December. You don't need to stretch yourself. You start from somewhere, but also be strategic. So you need to set your goals and then regularly engage with your network and offer value. People want people who offer value. I can't say that enough. People always want people who offer value. So build yourself and also support others and then regularly engage. When you go to class, your friend needs support, help them with something. Somebody, one of your friends is contesting for something, just post it for the person. It won't take anything from you. Repost, reshare, like, engage their post so that others would see. And if you are able to show up in person for people's events, and then you reflect on how your network is supporting your strategic growth and adjust as needed. I say that I choose my friends don't choose me. because I know where I want to get to in life. And so if you are not that person that is moving, or I said that slow motion, my friend says slow motion is better than no motion. So, but if you're not that person, or you're only taking, I know where I'll put you. So you need to adjust every now and then. You need to pause and then look at yourself and say, is this things helping me? Is it not helping me? And then you reflect and evaluate. So, in conclusion, I'll just say that your network is your net worth. Your network is your net worth. I can't even say that more than enough. So, make sure that you make a conscious effort to build your network, and then that is what your network represents who you are and your values. So thank you so much for listening. And I'll be happy to take questions. And if there's time, we could take the activity that was there. So I'll let Conjulav take over from here.
This was truly an insightful presentation. Your network is your network. Let me take that again. Your network is your
Like,
network.
yeah.
Your network is your network. It's true. Many a times, many of us forget that a network is a network. And what stood out for me during your presentation was where you said that there are certain people, when they call you, the first thing you know is that, Chrissy wants something. I'm sure most of us have been in those situations where people say that their helpers don't pick their call again because you don't even call to say, how are you? Have you eaten this morning? How can I assist you? Every time we call people who can render assistance to us, the first thing we think about is, I want this. Can you help me with this? So thank you so much for such an amazing presentation. And also what I took out was the fact that you met these people at the places you least expect to build relationships. If you are
Yes.
traveling, if you are going to an airport, how do you make friends with somebody in an airport? But then they're in the most unlikely places. We get to build strong and strategic relationships. So thank you so much for the amazing presentation. Please, it's time for questions and answers. If you have any question, you can lift up your hand so that we'll call you to ask Teresa the questions you have on your mind. How do you go about it? Does anybody have any questions? Please, it's time for questions and answers. So you can ask the needed questions, the questions you'd want to meet. So let me go first, Teresa. I meet somebody at the airport and we exchange contacts. So probably the person said, okay, I deal in real estate and I also want to get venture into real estate. Okay, should I continue? Eric has lifted his hand. Or should
You mean
okay,
should
Eric, please
you?
let's
Oh, okay, you want to ask the Eric first. All right.
yes, please. Eric, please, you can speak. Unmute and speak.
All right. Thank you very much. Please, I want to ask a question. In this environment that we find ourselves, okay, people have that kind of like idea that we take, or let's say, like, we kind of like take advantage of our other people. So, in terms of establishing a relationship with others, does it mean that we need to provide some service in order to receive an equally receive something that we want, or what? Because let's assume that the example you gave, like the airport issue. Imagine that, let's say I'm on my way and I go and meet Kodila. All right, and I want to kind of establish a friendly relationship. Should I go straight in kind of like telling the person about who I am, my background, and those stuff, or what? I want to
Okay,
help me with that.
Eric, thank you so much for your question. That's a very good one. So you need to study the moment. You could just give like just a brief intro. Tell the person you are so so and so, but you don't need to give out all the information yet. You also need to give the person the benefit of the doubt to decide if he or she wants to be part of your network. so that it doesn't come across as you are forcing something. Do you understand? So the other thing probably I should also mention is that sometimes it takes time. So, and also give people the benefit of the doubt. Let them decide if they want to have it. So you could tell the person who you are and what you do in a space of a time. If there's more time, if the person is interested, the person will ask questions. If the person is not asking questions, you tell the person, oh, please, can I have your contact or your email? I'll further want to engage you or tell you about what I do. And then later, when you have the opportunity, you send the email or the message. And be careful also not to come across as disturbing the person too much. Give the person time to take everything in that you are giving to the person. Thank you, Eric.
Thank
Hi,
you, Teresa.
yeah.
Jerry, please, you can speak.
Okay, so my question was I think partially answered in the process.
Okay.
So my question was going in this way. So in case I have, let's say I took someone's contacts, how do I maintain the relationship with the person? Because personally, I I personally have people's contact, but maintaining it is my problem because I don't want to come as I'm being pushy, I'm being like
Okay.
I want to force something on the person. So that's my question. That's how my question goes.
Okay, Jerry, thank you so much for your question. That's also a very good one. It actually forms the basis. So for starters, I'd say immediately you take somebody's contact. Let's say in about the next 24 hours, just send a quick short message or and whether it's an email or a text message or a WhatsApp, depends on which contacts you may have exchanged so that the person doesn't forget you. So the truth is that if it takes longer before you make the initial contact, the person may forget where and how they met you, or maybe the enthusiasm would have even died. So it also doesn't have to be too much or too long or too much information. So you just send a quick message to say so and so ABC. Then depends on what the person's response is. You know what next steps to take. After a while, if you don't hear from the person, give the person time. You'd say, "Oh, hello, blah blah blah. I'm reaching out to you to follow up on ABC, but give it time. Give it time. We met at ABC and we discussed ABC, so I was just following up on it. And maybe you also have an event coming up. You share with the person. It depends on what you want for the from the person. If you want to support the person or you want the person to support you, I mean, it depends on exactly what you want. And that you could even update the person. Oh, the last time I met you, I was a student at Blossom Academy, but currently I have completed my certification and I'm doing ABC. But don't push it too much. I mean, always give it space and time and then watch the responses of the person. Sometimes too, the other thing is that you will not get the person directly. So sometimes you get people through people. That's also one of the strategies. So you want to get to Condylar, but you may not directly be able to. Maybe she has a P or maybe she has somebody in your class she's close to. The person could refer you or book an appointment for you to see the person. So thank you. Or also you could request for depends on if the person's availability and what exactly you want. You would um kindly like to see if you could book an appointment to come speak to the person in person or speak to or the person should refer you to. Sometimes the people are also busy, so the person may refer you to somebody else. So just be strategic. There's a need for the balance. So maybe, yeah. Thank you, Jerry.
There is a need for
Thank you too.
balance. Balance. Thank you, Jerry. Augustina, please unmute and ask your question.
Okay, thank you very much. My question was also partially answered. So my question is, how do you deal with someone who you know to be or you seem to be a role model because maybe the person is ahead of you and is pursuing your dream, but then the person is not willing to give you what you need to become successful. Like the person is not willing to open up to you for you to learn. How do you deal with such a person? Do you move away or you continue to wait and then keep seeking help from the person? Thank you. So,
Hi, Teresa. We cannot hear you.
Hello, I'm sorry my line dropped. Um, so I'm back. Yes, some of the people you can observe from afar. Does the person have a LinkedIn account? Follow the person, like the person's post, repost. Does the person have a personal assistant? Does the person have people working under her or him who are readily available you can speak to? Sometimes it's a lot of investigation and looking at the person's network. Just engage the person. You can also learn from people from a distance. Sometimes it's not always the having that close relationship, but you can learn from them, watch what they post, learn from the lessons that they share online, engage their post, and reach out through somebody if it is possible. Yeah. Condy love.
Hi, Teresa.
Yes, please.
Thank you so much for making time to join the session. You can continue with your slides. If there are any other questions, would call them
Yeah.
in.
So I just had a quick exercise. I just wanted um I'm not sure anyways. That okay, some of them have already been addressed. That everybody takes a moment to reflect on the discussion. And sometimes we don't even know this is the problem that we actually have. So take a moment to reflect and list any challenges you may be facing with regards to networking. And then we can discuss the solutions. I don't know how you'd go about it. Condila.
Yes, Teresa, thank you so much for making time. I personally learned so much from this meeting. I mentioned that I think it was Eric or some other person asked the question about how do you approach people and how do you go about it. Most of the times we forget that we can just ask a sister, somebody is close to, somebody you'd always wanted to speak to. You can just say that, oh, Akosia, I want to meet this person. Can you like introduce me?
Yes,
But
it's
then
as
the
simple as
fear,
that
you
actually.
mentioned that networks, yes, networks are built on trust. And the question now becomes, do I trust you enough to introduce you to this person? Are you not going to embarrass me? So
Yes.
thank you so much. I'd like to say what I've learned today. So it's not just about studying, but also building relationships every step of the way. Some say parents say go to school and go and study, go to school and go and study. So we forget all other things that we are supposed to do to make our lives very holistic and smooth, for want of a better word. And it's not just only about what you can get, but what can you offer. You also said we should be valuable. How do we become valuable? Is it by reading books, by attending events, webinars? That's very amazing. Thank you so much for the comprehensive research this thing. And because you spoke from experience, we are very appreciative because it's you have a track record of these things working for you, and we'll be sure to apply it in our lives. Please, if you have any questions, we still have a few minutes to go. You can ask Teresa, and she'll be ready to answer them.
And since we are talking about networking, please feel free to send me a LinkedIn connection, Theresa Ansa Anefi with an MSc into brackets. So I'm building my network here too.
That's very important. Volunteer. You said something about volunteering. I'm like, okay, most of us don't like to volunteer because we first of all look at the monetary value. What
I
are we
know.
getting in? What are we
So
getting in
yeah, let me
return?
share an example. I was working in 2019, or I've forgotten the year, but I was working and then I took my annual leave to go volunteer in somebody's organization. I wasn't being paid. But when I was there, I learned a lot of things. And also, I built like valuable networks, really, really valuable networks. And I was introduced to people while I was there. So sometimes I know that we all need money. We all need money. But sometimes the money will come in a different form, or the money will even come later when you are not even expecting it. So every now and then, try to volunteer. Even me, as I am, or the way I where I am now at the stage of my life, I still volunteer for people. I volunteer everywhere. At church, I mean, when people post flyers of their events, and I have time, I go volunteer, I go support them. I'm really a hands-on person. So I think that's something that we should all try to develop. We should I understand. You're thinking, how will I get there? How will I eat and all of that? But sometimes the reward comes later. So let's try and support each other. And one other thing, don't leave this course. I mean, those of you that are already on the course, don't leave the course without building substantive network. I would say that for every class I have been in, these are the same people. I tell people that these politicians that we are following, they are classmates, they are friends, they know each other a long time ago. I mean, it's a joke I always pass. So wherever you find yourself, build networks. It's you, we are all the same people who become the big people we are looking forward to become in the future. And you could always go back to the person and say, oh, we were classmates, we were this. So build networks, right? Start from your this particular fellowship you are on. Start there, yeah. And then with the staff that are at Blossom Academy, I think they are amazing people and they are doing amazing work. Thank
Thank you
you,
so much,
everybody. It's time.
Teresa. It's been amazing, and we'll be sure to learn. We'll be sure to make conscious efforts in building relationships because relationships are work. It takes time and it's a process so that people can trust us to be able to deliver. And when they recommend us to other people, we don't go and embarrass them. Then people come to see that this is your friend you came to introduce to me. See that the person has just embarrassed you that way. So thank you. We've learned so much. Does anybody have any question they want to ask before we go? Please, if you have a question,
Am I missing something?
so,
Hello.
and I'm ready to yes, hello. So Teresa, thank you so much
Thank you to
for
thank you
the
everyone. So thank you for your time. Thank you, and I'm happy to be connected to you. I've seen a lot of people sending me I'm accepting all the LinkedIn requests now. So I'm happy to be connected to all of you too. Thank you.
yes. Thank you. And I've left Teresa the LinkedIn page in the chat, so you can just click the link to go contact her. Please be grateful. You are such a teacher. other question delivered, be expert, and for your time. Can you say a big thank you for making the webinar? Don't go and waste your time. We're not taking it. We'll be knocking on the door for you to help us learn how to build relationships and leverage. Thank you so much. If you can now.
Right. Thank you, everybody. Bye bye for now.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Good night, everybody, and thanks
Good
for
night.
joining. Before you log on, I'd like to hear from anybody. Say just say bye and then that's all.
Bye.
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 Bye, Teresa.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
The rest people will not say bye. Clifford, we need to say bye. I want us to have a second session. Daniel, bye. Eric, bye.